r/askreddit. What's the most? I'm turning into my parents' moment for you.
I heard a loud noise and instantly got pissed off.
Loud noises causes my sensory to go overboard.
Same now. If it's something expected, like a fireworks display, I'm fine. If someone randomly starts yelling, I want to throw a brick at their head.
I realized I talk exactly like my father. I use the same speech patterns, and I don't get to the point which annoys me, as well as anybody listening.
Got really pissed off at something a couple years ago and realized mid-yelling I sounded exactly like my dad when he and I argued in the past. That was a fun realization followed by mental breakdown.
I'm happy you've moved past it. Exceedingly gay, parent.
My 10-year-old nephew let me win a video game cause he felt bad for me, like I did to my dad 25 years ago on Super Nintendo.
My so and I were packing and getting ready to road trip to some family's house for Thanksgiving. As I was cleaning up the house, my so said something along the lines of, "Don't worry about it, you can clean when we get home." I replied with, "I do not want to come home to a dirty house." At that point, I realized I'm turning into my mother.
My dad used to come and stand behind the sofa wearing an apron whilst I was watching TV and put his hands on his hips and watch a bit of whatever was on whilst he was waiting for something to cook. I now do exactly the same thing in my flat with my girlfriend when I'm cooking and she's watching TV.
Relationship goals. Goal #1. Have a girlfriend.
Easy, walking around turning off light switches complaining about waste of electricity.
Except now with 6-watt LED pounds compared to the 100 watters from back in the day, it costs 1.7 cents as opposed to 29 cents to be left on for 24 hours at a 12-cent electricity cost. You want to save on electric? Got to reduce that HVAC motor from running at 500 watts via better insulation/windows, etc.?
Don't care. It annoys me when I look and 90% of the lights are on in the house, yet everyone is in the same room.
My 3-year-old told me as I turned on the TV, "Don't turn on the news, Dad." I 100% remember saying that to my parents.
There's always a certain age where you go from hating the news to becoming deeply interested in it.
Next level is talking back to the TV and really realizing you become the parts of your parents you hate strictly out of programming.
I repeat stories. Every time I go home to visit, I'll hear things from my dad that he's either told me by phone already or stories I've heard 100 times. I found that I have also started telling people about stories from my past that I've already told them. Convenient that I don't make up bays, or I'd have to remember all my beads.
My mom does this, and now I do, and it pisses me off so often. My husband never fails to remind me that I've already told him the story 30 times.
That's why meeting new people is fun. They have not yet heard any of your stories.
I wake up, no alarm, every day at 4 a.m. to get ready for work. Just sit up like clockwork at 4. Never thought I would get to this point.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Get a effing cat that will effing yowl at you every effing morning for his effing food, even though he's already a fat effing asshole. Still love him, though?
My dad was a fairly tall guy. I used to hate walking with him when I was about 4/5 because he'd take giant steps and I had to basically jog everywhere while he dragged my hand. My son is now 4 and I caught myself doing that exact thing about 2 months ago. Now I walk slower.
Walk a little slower, Daddy. Walk a little slower, Daddy. Said a little child so small. I'm following in your footsteps and I don't want to fall. Sometimes your steps are very fast. Sometimes your steps are very fast. Sometimes they're hard to see. So walk a little slower, Daddy, for you are leading me. Someday when I'm all grown up, you're what I want to be. Then I will have a little child who will want to follow me. And I would want to lead just right and know that I was true. So walk a little slower, Daddy, for I must follow you.
That poem is framed on the wall in the hallway outside my parents' bedroom at home. Also in the frame is a footprint from my foot being dipped in paint and then pressed on the page when I was around 8, as well as a small picture of my dad and I holding hands. I'm in college now, and seeing this reminded me of home and made me smile.
My dad was always digging himself into holes with his dad jokes. But he's passed that shovel on to me. The realization was groundbreaking.
What do you call a man with a shovel?
The moment I saw a high school picture of me, turns out it was my dad's high school picture. I'm identical to my father, and it's annoying as can be.
Except for your eyes. You've got your mother's eyes.
Fact.
when I sit down and make a dad noise, a aya hargai.
This used to aggravate me to no end. Now I catch myself doing it as I get in and out of cars.
As I stared into the mass of various saved rubber bands and twist ties.
I have to dump the 4,786 plastic bags my brother will save and keep 5 to 10 of them.
The bag struggle is real.
I went mushroom picking with my friend a couple of months ago. We ended up meeting my dad and granddad also mushroom picking. I'm Polish for clarification, and mushroom picking is like a national sport here.
As soon as you said I went mushroom picking, I knew you had to be European. Mushroom foraging is a niche hobby in the States. The few that I know are all herbalists.
It's alive and well in the Pacific Northwest.
Ate at an expensive restaurant and for a sec considered how much better and cheaper it would have been if I made the meal at home.
Now I generally try to only order something that I can't make at home, so I can look it up later and find out how much work it would take to learn.
My roommate and I have one splurge restaurant these days. Everything else we just make at home. But for sushi and hibachi, we go out. It costs a ton, but we love the place and always bring home leftovers for at least one more meal for each of us.
Finding myself excited to go to Lowe's. As a child, I hated being dragged to that store. As an adult and new homeowner, I totally get the appeal of buying power tools and gardening supplies to work on various home improvement projects.
It's just as Donald Glover said. The first time you go into a Lowe's or Home Depot in his example and say, "Oh, knobs, your childhood is dead."
Having children, the crap that I've said has totally been crap my mom used to say. As a middle-aged male, I'm turning into my mother, and it terrifies me. Example, I swear to God, if I have to go in your room to clean it, it's all going into a garbage bag and being donated to kids that will appreciate it.
I caught myself saying it doesn't matter if you didn't mean to. You need to mean not to, and I had the most eye-opening flashback to my childhood.
I started enjoying looking at grocery ads for discounts and have 3 discount cards.
Grocery shopping is like a hobby for me now. I'm still in my 20s. Is there hope for me? Original content?
Shopping well is an excellent habit/skill to learn. That crap will save you so much damn money. I too love grocery shopping because of the genuine excitement I feel at not only saving money, but buying good, healthy food that I'm stoked to cook and eat. I learned a little late, but it's done wonders for my health and confidence.
I've always joked that my dad isn't really my father and I'm just a clone of my mum. I look like her, laugh like her, same mannerisms, etc. Then I got the exact same health issues that she has, at the exact same age they began for her.
I have a hair that grows out of my chin. My mom has one in the same place.
When I would get irrationally pissed off when I would come home at night and see my roommate left a spoon in the sink instead of just washing it real quick.
All roommates have a dishes fight. 4 college girls living together results in a screaming match. I used to be so clean in the kitchen.
My roommate washes dishes, then cooks, then leaves the dishes until the next time he's hungry. The record was 6 weeks for a pot of massie and cheese. Our strategy is just to put all of his stuff in a garbage bag and leave it in his room.
My dad has a way worked himself to death. Now he's retired. When he comes over now, as soon as he sits down on a couch, he falls asleep within minutes. I'm noticing couches are starting to have the same effect on me.
Same for my dad. He says it's from his military days when he had to sleep when he could get it. He would go days without sleep sometimes since he also worked night shifts. So he gets home at like 6 a.m., messes with the boat, then heads out fishing until he has to go back to work. When he comes to my house, he'll hit the couch and get 5 minds into a movie before he's out. Sometimes he'll call me and be like, "I'm really liking this John Wick movie. I started it last week, I'm about halfway through." I don't think he's sat fully through a movie in my life.
I started it last week, I'm about halfway through. Same, except I just have a short attention span.
My wife got a picture of me in shorts that didn't come to my knees, a white tee that I wore under my work shirt, doing dishes with my headphones in, listening to a podcast. It was a wake-up call I needed.
Over the course of college, I went from milk and sugar in my coffee to straight black with an espresso shot. I went from ketchup on a lot of things to simply salt and pepper. The sweet tooth turned into a salty/savory tooth.
This happened to me. I went from a sickeningly sweet and light coffee drinker to preferring just a splash of cream. And my mom would always say how she didn't like pop soda, and actually preferred water, and I always thought she was lying until I got to the age where I don't care for pop. Unless I'm sick, then it's Werner's all the way, and prefer water. Crazy.